Have you ever wondered why God has prepared a hell to punish sinners when sometimes it feels like we are already in hell? Haven't we been punished enough? The truth is, there is no end to suffering. There is no end to despair. There is no end to evil. There is no end to hate. There is no end to darkness. In my many discussions with Protestant Christians, I have been repeatedly told that I will burn in hell like wax on a candle for worshipping a false Christ. In this video, I want to respond with my thoughts about what I would do if I died and woke up in hell. Friedrich Nietzsche once proposed a philosophical dilemma he called eternal recurrence, where he imagines time being a flat circle. From the gay science we read, what if someday or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, this life as you now live it and have lived it will have to live once more and innumerable times more, and there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unutterably small or great in your life will have to return to you, all in the same succession and sequence. Even this spider and this moonlight between the trees, and even this moment and I myself, the eternal hourglass of existence, is turned upside down again and again, and you with it, speck of dust. If this demon came to you in your lowest point, when everything you built seems to tumble down, and there is no hiding from dread and despair, you would curse this fate and hate it. Though, if the demon appeared to you in broad daylight, when life couldn't be sweeter and many love you, you might think this eternal recurrence was a divine gift. But the point is that you will have to relive your life over and over again forever with no end. You will repeat your greatest triumphs and your most profound regrets, your easiest easygoings and hardest trials and burdens. Everything in your life will continue to repeat itself, a cycle of never ending. If Latter-day Saints believe there is no end to matter, there is no end to space, we might consider that the universe is infinite, and infinite particles are evenly spread throughout. We might assume that everything is possible, and with endless possibilities and combinations of these particles, if we traveled far enough into space and time, we might eventually encounter a planet not too dissimilar from our own, and on this earth we might find a second you, living the exact same life as yourself, and having made the exact same mistakes as you, and experiencing the exact same trauma. However, for some, they don't have to travel far to find a doppelganger who is living their similar life, such as identical twins separated at birth. This is what Tegmark considers a level 1 multiverse. But similarly, if we should suppose that there is no end to being, there is no death above, that is to say, there is no end to time or person's existence, we might find that all things that have happened to us will happen again and again in one form or another. Even if experiences don't happen over and over again, they are a part of us. In that sense, we always will have these sorrows and joy and other experiences as part of who we are, and in that sense relive them. In this, Joseph Smith teaches that eternity is one eternal round. In Latter-day Saint theology, time is not a flat circle, but a ball of infinite possibilities. Everything is in a cycle of life and death. We die and are reborn again and again. Not to say that reincarnation, but more of a constant reinventing of ourselves. Consider the Ouroboros, a symbol from ancient Egypt, of a snake eating its own tail. The snake kills itself by eating itself, yet lives on the nutrients from eating the tail. The philosophical proposition of the eternal recurrence was Nietzsche's greatest dread, as he lived a terribly lonely life and went mad by his own philosophy. But at the same time, the problem becomes an enlightening affirmation of amor fati, Latin for love of fate, as he teaches, my formula for greatness in human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it. For this hardened philosopher, the Übermensch, one superhuman, says yes to life, and all of the terrible things that come with it. Even when winds attempt to blow him down, he stands firm, even when he is blown over. A woman who delights in burdens, even when they weigh her down. A person who, when beaten, smiles and says, I will endure. This too is an experience that is part of me. We should say to life, is this the best you got? You sorry excuse for existence, come at me, make my burden burdens heavier and my trials more difficult. Try to break me, hurt me like no other. Let me see how great I am. And if you make me bleed and cry, I will overcome everything you throw at me. Maybe you would never ask for greater trials, but simply the strength to endure any trial that should come your way. I, however, do wish for greater and harder trials. For Albert Camus, he considers the myth of Sisyphus, where the gods condemned a king to roll a heavy boulder up a terribly steep hill, but once he has accomplished the task, the boulder only rolls back down to the bottom again, and he has to start all over and repeat this process forever. Camus wants us to consider Sisyphus happy. But is this all we can do while trapped in the furnace of hell? To smile and bear the torture, or weep and wail and gnash our teeth? You aren't given very many options here. There are only two sides to the coin, but if a coin is thrown enough times, the coin will eventually land on its edge. Perhaps death? Perhaps there should be no more humans born? No. Simply having been born, you are special. Merely existing is a rarity. Birth is a new start for all life. Suicide is not an acceptable choice. That would be to give in to fate and buckle under pressure. Death is easy, but life is hard. I choose to affirm life to its fullest extent and encourage the man-god.
I'm sorry? What was that again?
I'm a god.
You're a god.
I'm a god. I'm not the god. I don't think.
Meet Phil from the groundbreaking comedy Groundhog Day. Phil is a selfish weatherman covering the Groundhog Day festival in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania. A blizzard hits which prevents him and his team from returning home, and they are forced to stay the night. But Phil doesn't wake up the following day. Instead, he wakes up on the same day, for no reason given. Phil is forced to relive the same events of Groundhog Day repeatedly. For him, it is absolute hell. He couldn't care less about the rat. Trapped in a small town with people whose lives he does not value, he keeps stepping into the same puddle to wet his socks, and he keeps running into an old acquaintance with an annoying personality who's always trying to sell him insurance. Phil goes through the 5 stages of grief as described by Kubler-Ross. Denial, where he attempts to figure out his situation to no avail. Anger, he decides to take advantage of others and indulge in dangerous situations. Depression, where he commits suicide over and over again. Bargaining, where he attempts to play the nice guy. And finally, acceptance, where he decides to fully take advantage of his situation by picking up new skills and learning to be an actual nice guy, to getting the girl at the end and finally breaking the loop. According to the film's director, Phil spent 30 to 40 years in the ice-cold winter of Puxatawney. After all of that, I would want to go to a hot tropical environment, but instead Phil decides to stay in the small town. Phil is a perfect example of escaping hell by becoming a god in a literal hell.
Hey, is this some kind of trick?
Well, maybe the real god uses tricks. You know, maybe he's not omnipotent. He's just been around so long, he knows everything.
Now, what would you do in Phil's shows?
What would you do if you were stuck in one place and every day was exactly the same and nothing that you did mattered?
Now that sums it up for me.
Let me suppose that tonight I die and wake up in the scorching flesh heat of hell, and having my internals eaten away by demons, only to have them grow back again. If the torturer intends that I will remain conscious throughout the whole ordeal and not cease to exist, give or take a few thousand or million years, eventually I would just grow tired of the torture. Perhaps then I would move on to the next one, and give or take a few more thousand or million years, I would grow tired of that torture. Many thousand, million, and billion years later of non-stop misery, I would develop boredom of suffering altogether. Then I suppose I would take a few more thousands or billions of years of pure boredom. Hooray! More butt spiders, I might jest sarcastically. While all this is going on, I would be scanning my environment for a way out, or a way to convince my torturer to let me out. Give or take a few billion years, I think I would think my way out and pass on the information to the others. I would be like Phil, and take advantage of the blessing of time to pick up new skills, even that I might defeat my demon friends and free the captives which remain in hell. Those of us doomed in hell will build a kingdom in those fiery pits and prosper. Hell cannot hold back a determined mind and a fighting spirit. All of this is what Joseph Smith meant when he taught, "I see no faults in the church, and therefore let me be resurrected with the saints. Wherever I ascend to heaven or descend to hell or go to any other place. We will turn the devils out of doors and make a heaven of it. Where this people are, there is good society. What do we care where we are if the society be good? The members of the church, and especially the leaders, are imperfect, but the gospel is not. So long as the church is continually reinventing itself and progressing towards one singular goal, the manifestation of the man-God, I too see no faults with the church that should deter me from it.
How you doing?
Well, you know, we're dead.
And we're in hell. But how you doing? We're good.
Thank you for watching. If you disagree with any of my points, please tell me about it in the comment section below. More importantly, tell me how you can apply these concepts in your daily lives. Like the video, share it with someone who disagrees with you or me, and subscribe for more content. And remember to keep it righteous.